Okay, so a few things happened over the weekend, which maybe leave us a little clearer on the road to Undisputed that we're supposed to be travelling. That we've been travelling for a long time. And then we thought we were going to get last year when we thought we were going to have Fury Joshua fighting to become the Undisputed Heavyweight Champion, and which then sort of crumbled before our eyes or disappeared, just like a piece of mist that we couldn't touch. And now, the picture, to recap for anybody who doesn't know, who's been living on the moon, is that obviously we were looking for that Undisputed fight last year, and then Wilder enforced his mandatory shot at Fury, so Fury had to go and fight Wilder, and Joshua, well, if Fury was out of the way, thought he'd fight Usyk, his mandatory WBO challenger. So in September 21, Joshua fought Usyk and lost to Usyk, a very big surprise decision, quite soundly beaten on points and nearly stopped in the 12th round. Immediately said he wanted to have a rematch with Usyk, and in October 21, Fury went and beat Wilder in that thriller. Just when we were thinking that rematch clauses were clogging up the sport and not letting us get what we wanted to see, we wouldn't have wanted to miss that fight, so that's worth remembering. So it seemed clear then what was going to happen after that, because immediately after the rematch, Joshua, being the great competitor that he is, says, I want to rematch Usyk, I'm going to enforce that rematch clause and that needs to happen. And Fury, having got Wilder out of the way, now needed to get his number one contender, Dillian Whyte, out of the way. Dillian Whyte has been the number one contender of the WBC since 2017 when he beat Robert Helenius, so he's long overdue that shot. So it seemed quite simple to us that we were going to have Whyte Fury and we were going to have Usyk Joshua, and hopefully the winner of that would meet, and then we would get this tantalising Undisputed. But nothing happened for a long while. We were expecting those two fights to be announced, and nothing happened. So that sent the rumour mill into overdrive, and it went into super overdrive last week. And it seems that the rumours that were coming out that people wanted to see a Fury Usyk fight, to sidestep these sort of two semi-final legs, if you like, to get towards Undisputed and go straight to Undisputed with Fury Usyk. Now, the people behind this were from the Middle East, and they were putting the money on the table, because the thing is, to get that fight is one thing, to pay the huge purses that fight demands is one thing, but then you've also got to get rid of Whyte and Joshua. So how do you do that? You pay them step-aside money. The money that was reputed to be on the table was $5 million for Whyte to say, okay, well, I'll walk away and I'll wait. I'll wait to fight for the title another time, and 15 million for Joshua to walk away and say, I'll fight for the title another time. So that was the money on the table, and that was being negotiated. And this led to the purse bids for Fury Whyte being delayed 4 times. While this was sorted out. Now the rumours, and again, everybody, these are rumours and counter rumours. The rumours are that Whyte had accepted his 5 million and said, I'll take the 5 million and I will step aside. The 15 million on the table for Joshua, Joshua was never massively keen about this, but it was 15 million, and the deal was that 15 million, then he would get a crack immediately at the winner of Usyk Fury. So that was what was on the table, but then negotiations broke down in the middle of last week, basically with Joshua walking away and saying, no, I'm not going to take the step-aside money, I'm going to go for the mandated rematch with Fury. One of the rumours, and there are rumours and counter-rumours because everybody's pointing fingers, is that Fury was actually saying, take the step-aside money, I'm going to have a warm-up fight, and then I'm going to fight Usyk. So in other words, that puts Joshua 2 fights down the line, to fighting for the Undisputed title. And you never know, in the heavyweight title, we know you never know what's going to happen in 2 fights' time. So for that reason, he probably decided it wasn't really going to be worth the candle. So we went to purse bids finally on Friday for the WBC mandatory challenger in Dillian Whyte, who incidentally last fought in March 21 with that revenge mission against Povetkin, which he was successful in. So we went to the purse bids, and Warren won the purse bids. Warren, Queensberry Promotions and Top Rank won those purse bids with a bid of 31 million. The next bid was Hearn at 24 million. Now, it was interesting to me going into this purse bid. I thought Hearn was almost saying he wasn't going to win it. He was quite sceptical about it. The reason for that was the WBC have mandated, Dillian Whyte has been fighting this in court, but it doesn't look like he's been successful, that fight should be, the purse split should be 80% of the champion in Tyson Fury and 20% of the challenger in Dillian Whyte. So an 80-20 purse split. Now, Hearn was saying, if your fighter is on the 80% end of the wedge, you can afford to have a little private deal. So what he's saying, and make an outrageous bid, get control of the fight, and then not pay your fighter that mandated amount of money. So what he's kind of saying is that maybe Warren and Fury said, look, Warren said, Fury, I'll guarantee you 15 million. I'll put in a massively inflated bid. It's not commercially worth that, but I'll put a massively inflated bid. Then we get control of the fight. And so that's the way it went round. So out of 31 million, that means that Tyson Fury would normally get 25 million out of that, and Dillian Whyte would get 6 million. Incidentally, only $1 million more than he would have got for not fighting Fury had that Middle Eastern deal gone through. But anyway, so we can now have that fight. So in a way, we have the first semi-final leg confirmed. That Dillian Whyte will fight Tyson Fury. Now, when and where will that take place? Now, Warren was saying that Fury had to get out, and all these negotiations were getting in the way of him getting out, and they had a provisional date booked at the Cardiff Millennium Stadium at the end of March. It now seems unlikely they will use that date. The reason being that it's just not enough time to promote and prepare, that close to it. So it looks like it's going to be mid-April. Incidentally, in the purse bids, it said that the fight had to take place by the 29th of April. So I think we're looking at a mid-April date at Cardiff's Millennium Stadium, which I expect to be announced in the early part of this week. The reason that, there are a couple of other places that, would like that fight. Manchester's Old Trafford has been mentioned and so on. But the thing is, it's April, it's the UK, it's a stadium fight. The Millennium Stadium has a roof. So that kind of means that it's kind of a safe bet. So I anticipate that fight will happen then. What will happen in that fight? Fury's going to start the favourite. We've got to say that, he's going to start the favourite without a doubt. But, kind of look back. There's always these banana skins. We don't have to look back very far, do you? You have to look back to Usyk Joshua to see the major banana skin. When you're thinking you've got a heavy favourite going into the fight. But also with Fury, after the first time he fought Wilder, then he came back and fought Tom Schwartz. You kind of forget about that fight. Schwartz was so many levels below Fury. It was a make you look good fight. And then he fought Otto Wallin, which was also meant to be a little tune-up. For the rematch that he was going to have with Wilder. And again, somebody was thought to be levels below him. But, Wallin was a bit of a brawler. He made the fight ugly. He took it to Fury. And, he made it hard work and hard going. And Fury came out of that with a huge cut over the eye and, just managed to turn it around in the last few rounds of the fight to come out with the victory. So, but then obviously he went on to soundly trash Wilder in the rematch. But what I'm saying is don't completely write Dillian Whyte off and look ahead to the next fight because, Whyte is going to be a live contender. Like I say, he's been #1 contender since 2017. We know who dropped the ball slightly with Povetkin, but he, that was only for a second. That's all it takes. And he reversed that in his next fight. So, Whyte is going to be a dangerous live contender. He's in his prime. He's a tough, experienced guy. He's going to have a strategy for Fury. He's going to come and bring it to him. It's going to be lively. I would still expect Fury to come through that. And then we're going to go into the second leg. On our road to Undisputed. And when that's going to happen, so obviously that means that now there is nothing in the way for the Usyk-Joshua rematch. That is intriguing because, on previous form, you've got to say you're going to favour Usyk. Joshua was the heavy favourite going in. Usyk's got to be the favourite going into this one, on his past performance. And you would also say, the general rule of thumb with rematches is that what will happen is the same result as the first fight, just more emphatic. In other words, you would expect Usyk to probably stop Joshua on the form that he exhibited in the last fight, with the confidence that will bring and with the knowledge that a master boxer like that will gain from boxing Joshua. But Joshua needs to change tactics, and as we've discussed before, everybody thinks that he needs to get back and use the advantages that he has got in his in his size, in his strength, and all that sort of stuff to almost recapture the form of Joshua of old. But Joshua seems to be on this constant journey between trainers. And again, that's one of the rumour mills that has been going, like mad for the last few months without any real confirmation. We've had this, he's obviously been over to see lots of trainers like Eddie Reneso and Virgil Hunter and lots of guys stateside. And Robert McCracken has been a bit sidelined. And then we thought we had confirmation that he was going to leave Robert McCracken, and that kind of seems to be the case now. But where he's going, we don't know. And the tactical changes that Joshua needs to make with that trainer going straight into an immediate rematch are absolutely pivotal. If he can pull this off, it will be fantastic. And let's not forget, he did it with Ruiz. He went in and fought a different fight. But the destroyer, Janley Joshua, was almost ended with that punch in the third round against Ruiz. When Ruiz got back up off the floor, Joshua went to finish him, and then, and then was obviously got caught himself. And we've never seen that Anthony Joshua since that Ruiz punch landed. And that's kind of the one that we want to see back in the Usyk rematch. But how he's going to discover that form, the tactics he's going to employ, is still a bit of a mystery. The date shouldn't be a mystery. Now there's nothing left to argue about. Eddie Hearn has always said, March, April for the Usyk-Joshua rematch. So again, now there's nothing in the way. Expect to see, an announcement about that next week, hopefully with a date. And then we've got, those two semi-final legs, both I anticipate in the UK. We've definitely got Fury in the UK. I'm pretty 90% sure, without it actually being announced, that, we've got Usyk-Joshua in the UK. I mean, Usyk would like to have it in Kiev, but I don't think there's the money there. So, we've got these two sort of semi-final legs that are going to be in the UK. I then anticipate in the summer, we'll get the winner of those two fights. I think they'll go and fight in the Middle East because the Middle East will want that undisputed fight there. It's the Saudi money, which we just can't compete with. Can't sell enough tickets to compete with that. So I expect that fight to be in the Middle East in the summer. So, it's hopefully moving forward a little bit. We're on the road to Undisputed. Summer, autumn, maybe we're going to find the answer to these questions. So there we go. A little bit of movement at last, a little bit of a story to carry on for that elusive Undisputed title. But there you go. We'll look forward to it.